guys, so today I'm going to be telling you about my horrific, gory, scary, terrible period. Just as a forewarning, if you're like grossed out by periods or if you're like a dude, I don't really suggest watching this video. Most young girls who get their period are so excited about it. It's like, yeah, I'm a woman, hear me roar. But not me. When I was 13 years old and I got my period, I was in shock. I was in denial. At that point in time, I wanted nothing more than to be a man. I remember the exact day I got my period. It happened on New Year's Eve, and I just remember going to the bathroom and feeling some weird sensation. In my head, I'm trying to rationalize this. I'm like, don't worry, Stephanie, you don't have your period. It's gonna be okay. You're probably just internally bleeding, or maybe like one of your organs ruptured. I mean, that's just me trying to be optimistic. So I called over my mom. I'm like, Mom, I think I think we have a problem here. I think I'm internally bleeding. Like, we should go to the emergency room. She's like, no, honey, you have your period. I'm like, no, Mom. I'm internally bleeding. At least I hope so. Now I actually turned out to have my period. And then a few days later, I went to school with my period, which was honestly like the worst nightmare of my life. And I did not have a good first period experience. So first off, my mom, she just loads me up with a bunch of pads, and not just any pads. These are just like the giant, humongous pads that literally feel like diapers, and I felt like I was just like a little diaper baby waddling around. So that first day back at school while having my period, I like doubled up on clothes. I was wearing like a skirt with some pantyhose underneath with some leggings on top and some combat boots, and I was like, I am ready to take on this period. My period was so bad that I changed pads like 3 or 4 times within the matter of like 2 or 3 hours. I was just constantly in and out of the bathroom, like checking my pants, making sure that everything was okay. I don't remember exactly which class it was, but I just remember I was sitting at this class, and all of a sudden I just felt something weird, and I was like, no, this isn't right. I was like, but I was so scared to get up because I had the feeling that I had leaked through my pad and like perhaps onto my pants and perhaps onto the seat. But I was like, no, I'm just not gonna check. I'm just gonna ignore it. Class keeps going on, and I'm just like, okay, this is like really, really bad. It's just getting worse and worse. I'm pretty certain, I'm almost 99% sure that this is not good. So I like scoot over a little bit and I look down at the seat. I'm like, oh, fuck my life. And for the rest of the class, I don't even know what the teacher's talking about because I'm just like sitting there just thinking, my life is over. I'm going to be excommunicated from my town, my school. I'm not gonna have any friends after this. I'm not getting up from the seat. I'm not getting up from the seat. Because if I get up from the seat, everyone's gonna see that I bled on it and everyone's gonna know I have my period. After the class lets out, I just sit there. Everybody leaves, and eventually it's just me and the teacher. I just got up and left. And I was like, okay, you know what? It's okay. So that's not my period chair. That's someone else's period chair. Why are you gonna blame, I don't get my period. I'm a girl. I'm 13 years old. I don't have my period. Period chair is now out of my life. Goodbye, period chair. After I leave that class, I go to the bathroom, I clean up. Luckily, I was wearing like a skirt and leggings, and the leggings were black, so you couldn't really see anything. So the next day, I really came prepared. I wore like the biggest sweatpants I could. I was like, I am like the Hoover Dam right now. Eventually, it's time for the class where the infamous period chair is present, and my heart is just racing. I'm like, please, Jesus, please, janitor, I hope you cleaned it last night. Well, sure enough, I see the period chair and my face just turns white. And the guy that was sitting next to me saw my face and was like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's gross. And I made like a huge scene in class about the chair. Like, I was like, this is gross. I'm not sitting there. Teacher, someone had their period on this chair. It's disgusting. I was so embarrassed and so mortified that my only reaction was to blame the period chair on some other poor soul. So that was my embarrassing period story. The first few years that I had my period, I really, really hated it. I even tried to like plan out in my mind like when I would miss school so I wouldn't have to go to school when I had my period, because I was like, there's no way. I even told my mother, I was like, there is no way you're making me go to school with this. My vagina has like the bubonic plague. Like, I am not going to school. Eventually it did get better though. I got used to it, and I think that most girls, they just like adjust to it, and your period just becomes like something funny, you know, an excuse for murdering somebody. Use it as an excuse for like potentially ending a relationship. So yeah, that was my embarrassing period story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. I wonder if anyone ever cleaned that period share.